Hello trader, welcome to this video today. So if this is the first time that we have landed to this channel, my name is Anthony. I dedicate my time for you to help you guys on how to break down the market or on how to do the market analysis, at least for you to be able to spot the setups for yourself and avoid depending on the signal groups and stuff like that. So I do come here on every Sunday to give you the market analysis for the coming week, and also in case I have an update, I also make a video within the week and give you an update, guys. So this week I never dropped a video on the update because I didn't see anything good to give you guys. But all in all, here we are, guys, and let's have the market analysis for the coming week. So as usual, I have some few pairs with me, and as usual, we are going to start with the Euro USD. So if you have watched my previous videos, you know very well we did this analysis here together. So from the Euro USD, we saw that the Euro USD reacted from this monthly point of interest, right? Because we had this break of structure to the downside. All right, so we had this break of structure to the downside. So we saw Euro USD coming to this supply and reacted from this supply zone. Okay, so that means we needed to go to the lower time frame, that is the daily time frame, and for us to wait for a confirmation. Okay, so when we went to the daily time frame, we saw that this was the last break of structure before the market reacted to this supply zone or this order block from the monthly time frame. So, and I mentioned here that for the whole of last year, the whole of 2025, the market, the Euro USD has been bullish until it reacted from this demand zone or from this supply zone on the monthly time frame. That is early this year. And from then, we saw the Euro USD giving us a change of character, which is a good indication now. This bullish movement, it might be over and market might be now willing to start dropping down and giving us new lower lows and lower highs. So immediately we saw this change of character since we are reacting from this supply zone. So what do we do? We need to mark our point of interest. And what do we do that? How do we do that? We know very well. We pick our Fibonacci, place from the swing high to the swing low. So we want to mark a point of interest that is resting at the premium since we are bearish. All right, so if it is difficult to mark your point of interest on this time frame, I do advise go to one time frame higher, which is on weekly time frame. So we have two advantage of doing that. One, you on the weekly time frame you're gonna see fewer candles, and two, you're gonna mark a high probability point of interest. You know, the higher time frame point of interest are always the stronger one compared to the lower time frame. All right, so from the weekly time frame you can see pretty clear that this is our order block, right? The last buy candle before this sell movement to give you this change of character. So we have got this area here being your supply zone or being your order block. Is it sitting at the premium? Let's confirm. You place your Fibonacci from the swing high to the swing low, and you can see pretty clear that this supply zone of yours is sitting at the premium, making it to be a very good point of interest. So what do? You go back to your time frame now, which is now the daily time frame. Once you arrive on the daily time frame, you have one business, just refining your point of interest. You see, we have not marked any other point of interest. We have just refined the point of interest that we had marked on the weekly time frame. All right. So once you do that, now you need also to go to the lower time frame and wait for your confirmation. So for this matter, you will go to one time frame lower because we are doing the top-down analysis, and you can agree with me. This was the last BOS that led before the market reacted from this supply zone here, or from this order block from that time frame. So what do we see? But remember, if you do the time frame alignment, I also have a video now to do the time frame alignment on my channel. So make sure to watch the video and you'll understand on how to do the time frame alignment. Okay. So you can see very clearly, someone might say that maybe this candle wick lost above, went above here, and maybe you can say that this zone was violated. No. If the candle never closed above your point of interest, it means that point of interest is still in control. So what the market wanted to do, the market just swept the liquidity above this high. You can see we have this liquidity resting here. So that is what the market swept and then started dropping to the downside. All right. So the best time frame for you to go and wait for your confirmation should be on the 1 hour time frame. All right. So on the 1 hour time frame, the real change of character happened here because this was the last BOS which led to this change of character. And since then, the market has been bullish, has been bearish. All right. So if we consider using the 4 hour time frame, this is our last break of structure. And then we saw a change of character around this area. So we have this change of character here. Okay. So, but now for me, I'm going to consider this structure here, this change of character here, because after this change of character here from the 1 hour time frame, market was bearish, came reacted from down here and started a bullish, small bullish movement. And this was the change of character which led to this break of structure to the downside, this change of character to the downside. So for me, this is my dealing range coming from this high all the way to this low. And this is where I'm watching the market is after market gave us this change of character. So what do you expect? I expect the market to come to the premium as usual, the way we have done it from the daily time frame. So what do you expect? You expect the market to come to the premium, react from the premium, and then we continue selling to the downside. Okay. So what are my point of interest at the premium? So what do we do? You go to the daily time frame. So once you go to the daily time frame, what do you do? I'm going to show you a very easy thing. We have said we only have two advantages of doing this. One, there is fewer candles to mark on this time frame. Two, you will identify high probability point of interest. Remember, daily time frame is a higher time frame compared to the 4 hour time frame. So you expect daily time frame point of interest to have high impact to the market compared to the 4 hour point of interest. So when I go to the daily, this is my last bullish candle before this bearish movement. So this becomes my point of interest. Okay. So when I go back to my 4 hour time frame, let me remove the fib. When I go back to my 4 hour time frame, what I'm going to do, I'm going to refine my point of interest. And when I refine my point of interest, I can see I have this order block here. All right. And I still have this extreme point of interest that is resting above there. So now these 2 points of interest becomes my point of interest that I'm watching the market from. Okay. And I can see that below this point of interest, we have got this fair value, we have got this liquidity resting below it, all right? And then we have this point of interest that is sitting at the extreme. So this is the point of interest that I'm expecting I'm anticipating the Euro USD to come, react from this one, and then we continue selling from there. So on my previous analysis that I did on Sunday, this is what I mentioned. Since we had this break of structure to the downside, and I saw the Euro USD was still consolidating. All right. So I told you guys until the Euro USD breaks either this high or this low, I won't be trading this pair. And we can see the whole of this week, the market has been consolidating in between. So for me, I never traded this pair because it wasn't clean for me. For me, it was still consolidating. And since now we have a change of character here, all right. Since we have this change of character here, we have this internal market structure shift. And I want to mention you these guys here. This change of character here doesn't mean that the trend of the market has shifted. Let me just use a different color. This internal change of character here does not mean the trend of the market has shifted. No, this is just to facilitate this 4 hour swing pullback. So once this pullback is over, the market is gonna drop down because the trend is bearish. Okay, so this is just to facilitate the pullback for the market to come to this point of interest, and then we continue selling to the downside. But for me, because we are very close to this point of interest, and I also have to mention this, when you look at the daily time frame, we can also see that we are reacting from this fair value gap here. Market is currently sitting on this fair value gap here and it's rejecting from this fair value gap. So anything can happen, guys. Market can decide to respect this fair value gap and then we continue selling. So for me, it wouldn't be wise for me to look for buys. Since we are reacting from this fair value gap, market might use this fair value gap and then we continue selling. So for me, I won't be looking for any buys. I will be looking for selling opportunities come next week. Okay. All right, so we have to pay attention to this fair value gap also, where the market is currently reacting from. Although, let's check from our Fibonacci again and see whether maybe market up to the 50. You can see the Euro USD. Let's check. You can see the because but we have a small push before tapping to the 50%. So this one gives me hope that the euro USD might also push a little bit higher to react from this area, and then we continue selling. All right, but if you wanna trade this pair, you can still look for buying opportunities from this area, but I advise you wait for a very good confirmation because of that fair value gap that we are seeing the market reacting from the daily time frame. We have this order block here, and it's a very good order block, and you can see we have liquidity above it. So we have this liquidity above here. So if you want to look for buys because of this internal change of character, you can look for a very good confirmation from this area, all right, from the 15 minutes time frame. So you watch the market one. If the market wants to come to this area, then you watch for a very good confirmation here. If you don't see that confirmation, you don't trade, guys. Because remember, I've told you the market is reacting from this daily time frame, fair value gap, and it might be strong enough to push this market and break this structure to the downside, right? So pay attention to that. But as for me, I will be watching the market to come to this area. In case the Euro USD comes down and breaks this low, if it fails to come up, comes down and breaks this low, then that means I will this point of interest won't be I won't be watching this point of interest anymore. Why am I saying that? Because now I will have another strong break of structure to the downside. So what I'll do, I'll be watching the market from the order block. I will be watching to trade from an order block above here, and then look for that continuation the downside. So what am I saying? To conclude my analysis on Euro USD, the analysis we are bearish, so we should be looking for bearish setups. So, what do you think about this analysis? Maybe you can tell me on the comment section. What do you think about this analysis on Euro USD? So that is what I'm currently watching on Euro USD. Right, moving on to the next pair. For this matter, it's gonna be GBP USD. So from the GBP USD, we have the same analysis, guys. From the last week, we had this was our last break of structure, then market gave us a change of character. So what do we expect? We expect the market to come at least to the 50%. Okay, and you can see GBP USD already came to the 50%. After coming to the 50%, gave us this internal change of character here. Okay, so this is why, remember, this is why we are saying the Euro USD, that fair value gap the Euro USD is reacting from, it might push this market to the downside. Why are we saying that? Because looking at the structure of this time frame, although this is not a strong change of character that I would like to see, this is not a strong change of character, but it's also a change of character because you can see we have a valid pullback here, we have a break, and then a change of character. But what I need to see from this point of window that I had marked, I need to see another good confirmation before I look for any selling opportunity, at least to confirm that this market is going to respect this change of character that we have around this area. Okay, so how did I mark this point of interest? I think I did that one from the 1 hour time frame. If you look at the 1 hour time frame, so what do we have? You can see that this eye here swept this internal liquidity around this area. So meaning this point of interest is a very strong point of interest, and we had a very nice liquidity below it. So market tapped, cleared this liquidity, tapped from this zone, and is currently selling to the downside. So what do I need to see? Because if I look at this bullish movement, this was the last BOS to the upside. So what do I need to see? I need to see the market clearing this low, right? If I see this, then that one will confirm that the market is respecting this structure here. So what will I do? I will wait for a pullback and then get in and target these lows. Okay. So the same thing with the Euro USD, I will also be looking for selling opportunities on this pair. Okay. So once you have this, look for selling opportunity, wait for the pullback, find for somewhere to get in, and then you target these lows, and you can also target these lows to the downside. So my buyers on GBP USD, the same to the euro, we are still bearish. Okay. So in case the market, okay, also don't forget, market can come to this order block here and continue pushing to the upside. So in case the market pushes and breaks this high, this is where you're gonna wait for the GBP USD next. Okay, wait for the GBPUSD to come to this area, and then we continue selling from that area. Okay, but in case I have an update before by Wednesday, I will also come here again and give you that update. Okay, before I forget, guys, I do run also the private mentorship. So in case you want to learn this, how to do this one-on-one with me, I still have a private mentorship. You can find the link to my WhatsApp on the description of this video, and also the charges for the mentorship are also indicated over there. So in case you are willing and ready to join the mentorship, kindly text me on WhatsApp and I will guide you on how to get started. All right, so we can move on now with our analysis. And the next pair in our list is going to be USDCHF, guys. And I remember very well, guys, I gave you this analysis on Sunday here. Okay, so for me, if you have been following me for a while now, we had this analysis like 2 weeks ago. When the market gave us this change of character, guys, what did we say? We said we were waiting for a market to come to this daily order block or this daily supply zone. Okay, so once the market came to this supply zone, what did we do? We went to the 4-hour time frame and we refined this order block. If you look closely, I'm not marking a new point of interest. What I'm doing, I'm just refining the order block that we have marked on the daily, and this is our order block. Okay, so on Sunday, because the market was around here when we were doing this analysis, I told you guys, if the market will break this low, if the market will break this low, you should be waiting for selling, look for selling opportunities from this order block that is sitting here. And that is exactly thing what the market did. The market pushed down and gave us this change of character because this was the last BOS, a very strong BOS. If you go to the 1-hour time frame, if you know how to identify a strong BS and you go to the 1-hour time frame, you're gonna see that this was a very strong BOS. Market came down and gave you this change of character. So there was nothing that was preventing me from taking this sell from this area. And that is where I just set my limit order here, my sell limit order here, stop loss above there, and the target is here because that is where this liquidity is resting next, and that is where we expect the market to come next. So I'm still holding this trade, and you can see we have already run the trade already ran 1:3. If you wanted to take your partials and around this area, you have already secured 1:3. But for me, I'm still holding this trade. I'm hoping once the market opens tonight, we're gonna sell down and eat the take profit. Okay, even when you look at the kind of the momentum of the candlestick, you can see that the sellers are really in control of this market. Look at the sizes of the bullish candles and the sizes of bearish candle. So there is nothing that is preventing this market from pushing down and eat this take profit. So if this trade is the take profits, that one is gonna be 1:5 risk to reward trade, guys. And I'm telling you, this is the only trade that I took this week because the other pairs that I was watching never gave me what I wanted to see. So this is the only trade that I executed this week, and it's currently running very well. So you can see now it's not a must for you to take a trade every week, every day of the week, guys. So if you can wait for a setup for like 2 weeks, 1 week, and it goes on your way, then it's worth the waiting more than just taking unnecessary trades, low probability setups, and then you eat more SL than the TPs. Okay. All right. So you need to develop patience, guys, because without patience in this market, then I'm telling you, you are in the wrong profession. Okay. So that is my analysis on USD CHF. It's still running, guys. I don't have a new update now. And if you miss the entry, I don't think whether the market is going to give you a second re-entry. So the only thing that we have, if the market will push down and give you this break of structure to the downside. So what will you do? Now you wait for a pullback, market to come to this demand zone, or not demand, but this supply zone or this order block, and look for more selling opportunities from there to the downside, because currently the market is really bearish. Okay, and this is the next target of the market, that where we expect the market to go and take out. Okay, so that is it, guys. But by Wednesday, I believe the market would have given us a new structure. So I will also come here on Wednesday and give you that update on that. All right, so moving on to the next pair, I have the USD card. What am I currently watching on the EURUSD card? Let's go to the daily first of all. So from the daily time frame, we had this change of character here, right? So someone might say, why is it that you are marking this one as a sweep of liquidity and you can see the candle closing? When you go to the weekly, that's where the analysis, I get the analysis from. When you look at the weekly, you can see we had this internal change of character here, right? But when you look at this low, weekly never closed below here. So what it did, just swept liquidity below this low. That means what? And what do we understand? When the market takes out the sell side liquidity, the next target of liquidity is always the buy side liquidity, which is this I. So this is why we expect this pair to push a little bit high and take out this I. But remember, before the market comes to this I, it has to take this I first. That is where you can see we are setting our TP from here. So now when I go to the daily time frame, I can see that after the market swept this liquidity, gave us this internal change of character, a very beautiful internal change of character here. Market came to this demand zone, respected this demand zone, and also gave us this internal change of character. So when I go to the 4-hour time frame, what do I see? We have a very nice change of character here, and the market created a kind of trend line liquidity around this area. You see that? So the market created this kind of trend line liquidity, and you can see now it has broken this trend line liquidity. So what do you expect? We expect the market to keep dropping down, at least to sweep all this internal liquidity, react from this demand zone. This is where I'm waiting for buy from. Okay, I'm also been waiting for this setup almost more than 2 weeks currently. So I'm still waiting for this setup. I'm waiting for a market to come to this demand zone, which is sitting at the extreme, and this is where I will buy from, and my target is gonna be this I. Okay. So now tell me, if I can wait for this setup for like 3 weeks, and now it plays out on my way, and I get 1:6, is it not worthy waiting? It's worthy waiting, guys. Okay. So you're gonna have to have patience. Now I'm seeing something very interesting currently, because now this is why I'm telling you guys, a high or the low that swept liquidity, it's a very strong high or low depending on the trend of the market. So you can see this is where we had a last strong break of structure. Why am I saying this is a strong break of structure? Because you see swept this liquidity before pushing to break this low. So means what? This high, it's a very strong high. And we have a very nice demand zone or supply zone around that area, or an order block. That is where we can see the market reacted from. And it's currently having a very strong selling momentum. Now I want us to go to 1 hour time frame and see whether we have that confirmation to look for selling opportunity. If you look closely, we have got, this is our last strong break of structure. Okay. If you have been following, you know how to identify a strong break of structure and a weak break of structure, or a fake break of structure. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm still having a video on my channel on how to identify a strong and a fake break of structure. Make sure to revisit the video and you'll understand more how to do that. So looking at the strong break of structure, this was the last break of structure, strong BOS. Why is that? Because you can see it swept this liquidity. We have this low being swept here as liquidity, and then market pushed up to give you that break of structure, right? For this one, even this one does not qualify to be a valid pullback from this time frame. There's only 2 candlestick pullback, and that one does not qualify to be a valid pullback. Also here, the market never closed above here to give us a break. So that means this was our last strong break of structure. So, and what do we have now? We have a change of character here to the downside. We have this very nice change of character to the downside. Let me use a different color. All right. Okay. So what are we supposed to do now? You can see very clearly we have this very nice order block here. Okay. So we have this very nice order block here. So in case the market comes to this area, you can look for selling opportunity from this area, but don't forget this will be just a counter trend. Okay. The right setup should be below this area here. Okay, but you can still capitalize on this sell movement as you are waiting for a market to come to this area, and then we buy again. Okay, so watch out for this order block. Let me go to the 4-hour and see whether we have the same thing. Yes, from the 4-hour we have the same point of interest. So there is this point of interest that I call an hidden point of interest. When you have weeks overlapping, So we normally have a kind of point of interest from that area. So that is what I call an hidden point of interest. Okay. So we have that from the 4 hour. When you go to the 1 hour, that is where you can see we have this order block. So it's a very good area for you to look for that selling opportunities. Okay. And if you have to place your order around this area, always make sure that your stop loss is above here. Always make sure that your stop loss is above there. If you're gonna have to put your limit order there, stop loss above there, and then you can target 1:3, something of that sort. Or if you want to hold, you can hold up to this area. Just target this liquidity here. Okay. But if you want to reduce your stop loss, you can still wait for a confirmation here from the 5 minutes time frame. If the market come to this area, if you want to have a very strict stop loss, you can wait for a confirmation here from the 5 minutes time frame, and then I believe the 5 minutes time frame will give you a small stop loss, and then for that case you can get a very good risk to reward for out of it. Okay. So that is my analysis on USD CAD. I don't also know what you think about this. Maybe you can tell me on the comment section what do you think about this analysis. But for me, since we have broken this trend line, I still expect this pair to drop down, take out all this liquidity that they had left here, come to this area, and then we look for another buying opportunity from there targeting this eye. So this is just a sell to buy. Okay. Now, moving on to the next pair. Our next pair is going to be BTCUSD. I'm going to start from the daily time frame. So from the daily time frame, what do we see here? You can see very clearly that this was our last break of structure here to the upside. Okay. So market failed to respect this order block. What did it do? Just came down and gave us a change of character. So from the daily time frame, we have got this change of character around this area, right? So since we have this change of character, what do? We pick our fib from the high to the low. We expect the market to come at least to the 50%, and then we start dropping down. Okay. And then we continue dropping to the downside. Okay. So this is where we have our 50%. So if I have to use this structure, this daily time frame, then this I becomes my liquidity. Okay. But also don't forget, we have this new structure here that was formed here. We have this break of structure here. And we have very nice order block here on BTC. Okay. But since we can't see a very good point of interest above here, okay, we have a very tiny fair value gap. We have got a very tiny fair value gap here. So that one might attract the market, and we have this hidden point of interest here. So we have that overlapping fair value, overlapping wicks, making it to be an hidden point of interest. So markets might come to this area, and then we look for selling opportunity from there. So currently, I have these 2 points of interest to watch. I have this order block, and I have this hidden order block around this area. So I have highs on these 2 points of interest because the market can use, because we can see very clearly that we have kind of equal highs here, which is liquidity. So market might use these highs as liquidity, then react from this area, and then we continue selling to the downside. Or market can come to this supply zone or this order block, and then we continue selling from there. So have highs on these 2 points of interest. Have eyes on this demand zone from the daily, and also have this demand zone here also from the daily time frame. So those are my 2 points of interest that I will be watching BTC from. Okay, so have eyes on that. So currently my bias on BTC is also bearish, and I'll be looking for selling opportunity from those 2 points of interest. Okay, now moving on to the next and the last pair. For this case, it's gonna be gold. So the last pair here also it's gonna be gold. Let me start from the daily. So from the daily time frame, the same thing with the BTC. Gold gave us this break of structure to the downside, right? A very strong break of structure because you can see swept this internal liquidity, swept that major inducement there. It was a major inducement of this change of character, right? So market swept that and then pushed to give you this break of structure. So what do we have? Okay, we can see very clearly. If I identify my order block very nice, this will be my order block, right? The last buy candle before the sell movement to give you this break of structure to the downside. Okay, so that becomes my point of interest. So what do I need to go? Right? What do I need to do? When I go down to the 4 hour, but before I do that, let's go to the weekly first. When you go to the weekly, we don't have anything to mark. So you just go with the daily order block, which is the last buy before the sell. That becomes a order block. So when I go to the 4 hour time frame, I can now refine my point of interest. And when I refine, I will have 2 points of interest. First of all, I have this extreme order block. Okay. So we have this extreme order block and we still have this order block around this area. But now I'm more interested on this extreme order block. Do you know why? Because I can see we have liquidity build up above this point of interest. We have that liquidity there, and then we have this order block on top there. But because the market is not currently there, and remember, if the market wants to come for the daily pullback, it has to violate or it has to give us the 4 hour swing change of character. Because you can see from the 4 hour time frame, the swing is still bearish. We don't have a break of structure to the upside, or we don't have a change of character. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if the market closes above this eye with the body of the candle, that is when we'll say we have a 4 hour swing change of character. But as long as the market is respecting this eye, then we are still bearish, right? And you can see the market has already swept this internal liquidity here. All right, these relative equal highs here, the market has swept by this week. So for me, I don't think that the gold will be coming up here. I don't know whether the gold is gonna come up there because it has swept this internal this kind of trend line liquidity here, and it's currently rejecting from there, and we're having a very strong momentum pushing to the downside, right? And because of this break of structure, for me, if the gold is gonna give me a very good confirmation to sell here, I will still sell gold to the downside. So what do I need to do now? I need to go to the 15 minutes time frame and wait for my confirmation over there. So what is gonna be the confirmation on the 15 minutes time frame? I can see very clearly that this is my last BOS here from the 15. And the question I always ask myself, is it a strong break of structure? Yes, it is. Why? Because you can see we have this internal liquidity. Market swept this liquidity, right? Because you can see we have a pullback, push, market swept the buy side liquidity, came down to sweep the sell side liquidity before pushing to give you a break. So meaning these are very strong break of structure from the 15 minutes time frame. So what will be my confirmation? I need to see the market breaking this low. Okay. If the market closes below this low, then you have your confirmation, my people. Okay. So if you have this, we have a candle closing below here, then wait for a pullback, join, and then target this low down here. Okay. So have eyes on gold once the market opens tonight. If you have got this, then wait for a pullback and then you can target these lows to the downside. So that is my analysis on gold, guys. I don't know what you think. Maybe you can tell me on the comment section. And before I forget, guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly make sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified immediately I upload a new video. So without until next time, it's a bye bye for now. So have a fantastic week ahead. I will see you on Wednesday for the update. So bye bye.